You don't want to miss this. Late night TV has been in a free fall with hosts turning their shows into predictable agenda-driven snooze fests. Ratings have plummeted, audiences have turned out, and the once golden era of late night comedy seems like a distant memory. But one man refused to go down with the sinking ship, who is none other than my favorite, Conan O'Brien. While others pander and went with the anti-Trump trend, Conan stuck to what made him awesome, and even left the failing industry altogether. Today we're breaking down how he stood apart from the rest and why we need more people like him. As always, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos just like this.
It's very nice that we live in this world now where there are all these different late night shows and everyone can kind of do the thing that they want to do their way. I think a lot of late night shows have sort of morphed a little bit so that sometimes there's comedy, but then they've become much more political. And that's not a bad thing. It's just different. I have strong political views and thoughts about things that I'm passionate about, but I choose not to go that way. But I feel like we're all put here to do different things, and it's really, I don't think it's why I was put here, is to passionately tell people what I think politically. I very much got into late night comedy because I wanted to do weird, silly things that made people giggle.
Could you imagine that not so long ago, late night was about actual comedy and hosts didn't get much into politics if they didn't have a funny joke? Conan was the last of that era, and he stuck to the golden rule. His humor was sharp, absurd, and never mean-spirited, which set him apart from the rest. He always made himself the joke. And it's not like he didn't have any political views, far from it. The guy is known to be a longtime Democrat supporter. And just by looking at his donation history, you could see it. For instance, in 2020 alone, he gave around $280,000 to a bunch of Biden fundraisers. But here's the difference. He never let his personal beliefs take over the show, even after 2016 elections. While other hosts were going into pathetic meltdowns, Conan chose to say this.
Half the country is really happy. Half the country somewhere between despondent and furious. And you may not know this about me, or you may. I'm a history buff. I love American history. And I was struck by one thought today. We have been here before. We have had bitter, angry elections for 200 years, whether it was Jefferson versus Burr, Adams versus Jackson, Lincoln versus Douglas, Alien versus Predator. In the last couple of years, I've traveled to a bunch of countries, Cuba, Armenia, the Middle East, where the people would give anything to have our system. In America, we get to pick who's going to ruin our country. And it's up to us. We get to choose. Seriously. And it's a privilege.
You notice something different? Instead of launching into endless blame games or fear-mongering his audience into a nervous breakdown, Conan chose unity. Shocking, I know. He doesn't belong to the self-loathing club of late-night hosts who act like the country personally betrayed them for not voting the way they wanted. And then he got serious. You could tell the guy actually went to Harvard, from where he graduated with a degree in history and literature. It is rare. Those moments prove that, yes, this man is as intelligent as he is hilarious. He was also once asked if he could commit the ultimate Hollywood sin, which is interviewing Donald Trump, and he had an interesting answer.
Would I have President Trump on the show? Of course I would. He's the President of the United States. You don't have to agree with everything that someone says. I would have any president of the United States on the show and ask them questions. That's what you would do. So, and I hope... I'd hope I would ask him questions that I would want answered. I have 2 kids, and I would ask him questions about some of the things that he's doing, but I believe that any host would, and they'd be foolish not to. If you had a chance to interview President Trump, you would, and I think that you would ask the questions that are near and dear to you and to the people that watch your show.
This is the kind of attitude that was and still is missing from our entertainment scene. He also once called out Trump bashing as lazy, saying, "So I always thought when Trump came along, what a lot of people have to revert to is, doesn't he suck? I hate the guy. He's an a-hole, and those aren't jokes." Exactly, and he's one to walk the walk as well. Remember when Trump floated the idea of buying Greenland back in 2019? Instead of melting down, Conan actually went there, did a bunch of hilarious skits, and even tried bribing Greenland's politicians to go along with the deal. It was comedy gold, and that's how you're supposed to do it. But since he chose to not join the bandwagon of the political preachers, the ratings of his TBS show were actually tanking. And rather than forcing it, he made the smart move of ditching TV for podcasting, where he's thriving now.
I've been doing pretty much a nightly show, more or less nonstop since 1993. It's been 28 years, and we're in the process of wrapping it up right now on TBS. And then, you know me, Sona, I'll go on to do other things.
Yes.
I'm kind of a hyperactive person who likes to make stuff. But this is it's a big transition. And people keep asking me, are you okay? Are you okay? How are you feeling? And I feel fine. I have been walking around thinking, am I supposed to be,
sad?
Yeah.
No.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I think that that it's the right time to do this.
Yep.
I think that that you're good. And it's television. It's like, who watches TV anymore anyway, right?
Oh, now I'm just depressed.
Sorry.
So I devoted 28 years of my life to something that nobody gives a shit about.
Sona is 100% right. There has been no shortage of articles that talk about these shows losing their audience. Even The Tonight Show, which Conan hosted for a brief period, is cutting back to a 4-day weekly schedule. But here's the genius of the guy. He saw the writing on the wall way before anyone else. According to his longtime friend Robert Smigel, quote, "The show really exists just to churn out stuff for the internet." And Conan absolutely nailed it. He was one of the first late night hosts to embrace YouTube, pumping out hilarious clips that kept even him relevant as a traditional TV was dying. His move to podcasting was another stroke of brilliance. Unlike his former colleagues who doubled down on political monologues, Conan stayed apolitical, focused on humor, and he got rewarded, baby, with a $150 million deal with SiriusXM. And unlike many of the industry, Conan's former employees only have great things to say about him. So here's a small example of it.
I also, as your employee, and I think I speak for a lot of people who work on your show, it has been it has been just the best place to work. You're a great boss. This is actually, I'm being sincere.
No,
and that's right. A lot of people have worked on this show since the very beginning.
Yeah, we have a couple of people that have been with us. I mean, really, it's actually a shocking number. I would say there's a bunch of people that were with me in 1993, and I still talked, and they still work on the show, and I still talk to them every day.
I was an intern for Conan O'Brien my junior year of college. For a summer, and I was his script intern. And I can be very honest. People have asked me before, what's your biggest influence comedically? And I said, without a doubt, it's Conan O'Brien. He's one of the greatest human beings you'll ever meet. He is so kind and so genuine.
He's a great writer.
He's an amazing writer.
Were you on his show?
I've been on his show. I was just on his show last night, but it's funny that you mentioned that. The one of the most surreal moments of my entire life has been the first night I went on that show. It was pretty unbelievable. And then at the end, if you go back and watch the interview, which everybody can do thanks to the internet, you can see that I actually end up tearing up, because at the end he takes a moment in the segment to say how proud he is of me, and I'll never forget it.
We're good friends, and he's on there a lot.
I know. He loves you.
I love him.
Notice that there are actually quite a lot of famous people that used to work for Conan. He's just great at lifting people up. And it's not only that, Conan has paid his employees out of his own pocket many times. And you know what they say, when people actually like their boss, they're doing something right. I'd say it's safe to say we will never ever have a person like him either in comedy or late night again. But I'd love to know your thoughts here, so let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below. And if you want your friends to stay in the loop, please share the video with them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.